Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast. The #1 show to bring you all things Club America and English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Go! Now let's hit the field and start the show.
America!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Eagle Podcast. It's been like the hiatus from us, but the off season is over. What's going on?
Yeah, that mic is gonna be a problem, son.
Oh God, am I still echoing?
Yes, if you want, you can go out. I think AJ got it from here. You know, people want to see AJ instead. They don't want to see you. So, all right, AJ, we're back, baby.
It's finally back. The Eagle Eye Podcast is back, and what a better way to start things off with preseason. And I'm excited because it's been a while since I last watched America, and cannot wait to see the boys in blue and yellow back in action again. How about you, Christian?
No, seriously, I'm excited. Every single day, I'm just counting down the days till we get to see our beloved America again. It's a feeling that I don't think I've had in a while. It's just I think Solari just instilled like this kind of determination, just this new hunger in this America team, which makes me more excited as a fan to just keep watching them play and watch them grow as a team. And well, if we're gonna make any preseason or before season predictions, this could be the year that we take it all the way. But I think that as a build up of the season goes on, I think we'll explain why. I feel like I think that this is a good chance we have this season to kind of take it all. Got to do with a lot of things, but ultimately I think it has to do with just Solari's kind of determination to bring a chip back home to America with the piece that he's given. We saw what we could do last year, and then I think me and you can agree that this squad is more improved than last year's. So that just makes me all that more excited.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, because just we want that elusive 14th title. It's been a while. We haven't won this since 2018. From time and time again, we get closer and closer, but it's just like we're just missing something. And I feel like this could actually be the season where I feel like with the signs that we make, if we happen to get more signs later on, this could be the season where Solari puts all the pieces together and he's like, let's go for it. He even said it before at the end of last season. Next season, we're going for that title. And that's what every America fan wants to hear.
Of course, definitely. But Ivan, are you back or are you back?
Well, let's see. I don't know. Is my auto tune still on? Or?
Can you restart your PC and then come back?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do that. Am I still echoing?
Please. Yes. No, you're not echoing. You're just like repeating your words.
Oh,
like
a reverb.
Like we hear you the first time. We don't want to hear you again.
All right, okay. You guys keep it going.
Just leave. Thank you.
All right.
Anyways, back to what we were saying. But no, definitely, yeah. But before we get into any of that, though, we still have a whole preseason to go to. Hopefully we still have a couple more signings to make. Maybe a few more departures to be announced. But just right off the bat, we're seeing a lot of departures right now currently in America. Which has been your biggest, I guess, surprise in terms of those departures?
The biggest surprise, I'm going to be real with you, it's been quite some time since I last remembered who even left that America. But just some that I know, just some of the looks, just one thing I scratching my head about, I don't know, it's Adam Medina. I know no one doesn't really care, but this is the thing. This is the guy we've been chasing for the entire time from Toluca. They gave him the price tag. They're like, we're not paying for that price tag. We asked for a loan. We end up getting him, just never really made much of an impact on the team. He did score 1 goal in about 6 games, then left. If I can think of another player, I feel like everyone was predicting it was going to happen. I feel it was Giovanni Dos Santos. Every Americanista, we look like clowns to be, honestly, and just feel like, yeah, he could definitely revive his career in America. That just never happened, really. Just never seemed to get a rhythm going. Injuries also plagued them, and it just said when he's playing, it's just that explosive we once saw in Giovanni Dos Santos was just gone completely.
No, definitely. And it seemed like most of these departures, well, I guess I would say about 90% of them were kind of needed, There are players who, didn't really contribute anything, to an extent. Giovanni didn't really do much. Sergio Diaz, another one who kind of really just came in, never really got a chance to, do his thing, never was counted by Piojo. So I didn't even, bat an eye on him. Alan Medina, like you said, it's strange because we went through so much just to get him. We got him. We don't use him. and then the very next season he's gone. It's a little bit of backward negotiations there. I don't really know what was going through the head of the board when going through this process. Hopefully they don't do things like that ever again, because it's just kind of wasting spots. It's wasting the player's career. We don't want to see that, right? If you were just gonna do that, you might as well just bring up someone from the cantera. Hopefully they can get in a couple games here and there, right? But definitely. I know me and you kind of went back and forth on this on Twitter, so we'll just talk about it right now. Ramon Juarez. This is something that you felt that should have never happened. You felt like this was going to be a repeat of Jared Ortega. Can you just elaborate a little bit more why you think it might be like that?
It's just the thing that when he first was put onto the America squad, just to play, we saw something in him. He's young, he's tall. It feels like he has some qualities that we saw in Ortega. We even talked about partnership before at one point. You can maybe see I had Ortega and Ramon Juarez partnership maybe at some point in the future. They could be the future in defense for America. That just never seemed to come to fruition. Well, we didn't have Ortega, but Ramon Juarez in this case, there's times we criticized them a lot, but we have to remember, I think when it was Bruno Valdez was gone, he would be alongside with Emma, and he seemed to just do well. But then there's just times he makes little defensive errors or big defensive errors in this case, and just everyone at America just said, we don't want him anymore. We want Bruno back. And I just felt like because of that, I don't know what to expect. You're having a youngster who's only playing for Vasquez. He never really made a debut in the Copa MX. Don't even think he's played in any preseason games. One of those is like you're throwing him in to see what happens. Hope that he can do his very best in the league games. If it doesn't happen, doesn't happen. If he gets good games, good games. Just I don't understand why when every America fan is wanting defenders and we just loaning him out to other teams. I don't understand that.
No, definitely. I definitely understand where you're coming from. But I don't know. It just seemed like the majority of the fan base, like they knew that Ramon Juarez was an okay player.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to say that he deserved to start because he didn't. Let's be honest. He didn't deserve to start over the three that we have. I don't think he deserved to start over any of them. But definitely, though, I definitely agree with you. It seems like we're just kind of giving out these players who may have something to bring in the future. But hopefully we don't really kind of make those mistakes with some of the more promising youngsters. I don't think we will, but we never know with Baños in this board, right? So definitely, I still think we're going to see more departures coming. If there's one more departure you would think is needed, who would it be?
I fancy we're going to have it's going to be Renato Ibarra because I just feel like he just doesn't have a spot on this team as much as people do want to come back, especially after the controversy that happened back then. It's one of those things that he doesn't want to be on the team. We already heard rumors already that Biden's just looking into his ability to try to find a spot for Renato Ibarra. As good as he was during his time in America, where you're seeing him running up that right-hand side, just going for crosses every single time, I feel like in Solari, he's not going to be a part of the plans because we're seeing that how Solari's game plan is. I feel like it's nothing that we have done in the past with Piojo, where it's just give the ball down the wings to the left or the right, cross it, see what happens. Solari, he sees it otherwise. I feel like Renato Ibarra just definitely doesn't have his spot on this team secured anymore.
No, definitely. And I don't think we'll ever see him again in the Club America shirt unless Baños and the whole board just decides to, just go away somehow and making all of us very, very, very happy. But who knows? Maybe he'll come up with a big bomba signing in the summer. Hopefully, maybe. I don't think it's probable, but you never know. I mean, Solari was a big surprise to us, wasn't it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I remember just everyone just thinking about who is our manager gonna be. I remember we were gonna have Sergio Bueno, and at that point, I'm just like, I don't even know who this guy even is at all. Yeah, and Memo Vasquez as well. I'm just like, oh god. But then, look what happens. So who knows? Maybe Biden's is probably just looking at everyone on Twitter, seeing how mad he's like, don't worry, I got you guys. I'll come with the signing soon. Just be patient. But
listen, this is a question we also gonna have to bring up in 6 months, and knock on wood. Hopefully, we do win the title, but in case that we don't, maybe there could be a conversation sparking up in December about Baños' position. Nothing concrete, but he's definitely in the hot seat right now. That's all I think we have on that topic. But just know that I think it's necessary for him not to necessarily bring a bomba this summer, but definitely bring in someone that the fan base is okay with, because out of everyone that came, I don't think anyone is 100% on board with every single signing we've made so far this season.
Hmm.
And let's talk about them. Fernando Madrigal, what do you think about him?
I think of him as an Emilio Sanchez. In this case, he's just short, but he does provide with the more Liga MX experience. Because remember, Emilio Sanchez, while Canterano, we've mostly seen him on loan in teams that have either played in the Ascenso. He never really got to play in the league completely. I mean, the closest thing he had was at America from last season in Cholos. But it's just one of those players where I'm just like, it's good. He's got the experience. He played a lot for Querétaro in the past 2 seasons, around 35 games or so. He can play as a center defensive mid and a center midfield as well. So, we could see a pairing with Richard Sanchez. We got Santi Navera there too, and then that can play as a CDM, and then you could put Maria and CM. Many people wonder why we get him. My sole reason, it's probably for that experience, really, from something that Emilio Sanchez to bring. While he showed something, I guess, but just he's not that same kid he once was when he was just in America. So it's time to go. For Madrigal, though, decent signing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's one of those kind of filler signings because people have to understand, with the good starting 11, you always need a good bench.
Mhm.
For whatever the case, an injury or fatigue or just plain rotations, it's always good to have people on the bench that you can rely on and that when you put them in, they're not going to be phased by the situation and they're always going to give 110%, no matter what, no matter situation, no matter the place to put in, they're always going to give it their all. And I think last season is a little bit different because you only could rely on maybe two or three players who can give you that and who can come off the bench and give you great impact. I think that's the main focus this year too. I'm not saying that maybe that Solari asked for these players, because I honestly don't think that he kind of had his eye on Madrigal, but like you said though, he's definitely an upgrade from some of the players that we had last season. He's definitely better than a Sergio Diaz, than a
Mhm.
Emilio Sanchez. So in that aspect, I think I agree with it, but just at that though. Now let's see if he can prove himself in preseason right now, and maybe in a couple games that he's given throughout the season. Because if he wants to, get Solari's attention, I think the preseason is where he's gonna have to do it. Ivan, are you
Yeah,
back
no.
or no?
Well, let's see. Am I still good or am I not good?
No, you're good now. I think
You're
you're
good
good.
now.
We're good.
You're
We're
good.
good.
Yeah. Yes,
Todo
you're good.
bien.
All
Did
right.
you change scenery?
I changed computers.
Oh, okay. All right,
That's
perfect.
why the angle, everything, it's off. But well, first of all, I want to extend an apology to everyone that was listening to that echo. Obviously, it wasn't my greatest hits in regards to that aspect. I do apologize for that. We've had technical difficulties in the past, and I think we're going to continue to have technical difficulties. I've always said it before. This is the technical difficulty show, so I do apologize for all that. But gentlemen, fill me in on to what you guys were talking about.
So we started the show off with departures. We talked about who we thought was the biggest surprise, and who we just overall we kind of felt that the departures were kind of necessary. Players like Giovanni and Sergio Diaz, and then it's kind of scratching our heads with kind of the departure of Ramon Juarez. Just your quick thoughts, I guess, on it.
I'll start off with the Juarez thing. I think it's a little bit premature of America to let go of such a young, talented player. I know that he's had his difficulties in the past, but it was always going to be a difficult task to be going up against the likes of, LAFC or, some of these other teams that he had to face off, not just, without, not just on his own. Obviously, he had Cáceres next to him, but there wasn't a real actual leader in that center back partnership. So it was always going to be a difficult ask. I thought he had some pretty good moments. AJ, I know you rated him very highly, and I'm sure you spoke well of him. Your boy, Mr. AKA Paulo Maldini in the flesh. But if this is a loan move, which it is,
That is a low
unfortunately, it
move.
does have that option to buy tag. I think that it could do him well. I think if he can go get a couple minutes under his belt, play some pretty good games, and if America does things right, then I think, hopefully they don't, you know, go through the option to buy him and he can come in and cement himself as a potential starter. As far as the players that have left, I think you guys mentioned it, right? Sergio Diaz is a player that just was completely just a waste of money. Let's
Yeah.
put it at that terms. It was a waste of money. It was
A
a waste of
panic
an
buy.
international slot. It was very panicky, which we've seen time and time again. This institution, this the board that is in charge right now, making these kind of decisions that just don't pan out in the end. Everyone came thinking, "Oh, Mr. X Real Madrid, he's gonna come in and he's gonna save the day." And just I don't know. I don't know if this was a Piojo option. Yeah, you feel like if this wasn't a Piojo buy, he would try to give more minutes to him. I know that he did come into the season and then like right away, boom, got injured. Which I mean, we can all speculate at that point what was going on, but we knew that Mr. Gibber was out there doing his thing.
Mr. Gibber.
So it was a shame to waste money like that. And then of course the big one being Giovanni Dos Santos. I think AJ said it right. We all kind of looked like fools thinking that he was gonna be able to, revitalize his career under an America jersey, which at one point maybe he was going to. I think the big if with Giovanni Santos is always going to be that game against Guadalajara at the Estadio Azteca when he does get that nasty injury, gets that punch hole in his leg, and things just weren't the same for Giovanni Santos afterwards, right? And not to say that he wasn't a key player anymore or that he wouldn't come in and do a job. I mean, you guys have to remember the Liguilla where we face off against Tigres, he gets a goal in, he's moving things around for us. Like he was up and for it. And then afterwards, you just sorry, I'm reading some of the comments here.
Gibbers our thing. Like we kind of made that our thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely is, Mr. Gibber. If you're listening to this, I hope you get to injure G-Neck somehow.
Yes.
And then just afterwards, just the constant injury after injury after injury, where you just felt it was a never-ending process for Gio, and unfortunately, he just never really lived up to the, to the hype, which is quite unfortunate, right? Because his dad did some pretty important things with an America jersey, and you thought, like father, like son, but it's just one of those things where again he just falls flat a little bit. But on the bright side, that's a huge contract that we get off our backs, and that I'm sure we're using very well to pay Mr. Layun's contract. So we'll see what happens with that. I wish we would have the numbers physically. Love to go through them. I know Layun's not making Giovanni Dos Santos numbers. He's not. But you're not gonna tell me that he's not coming into America on a pretty big salary. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, no, I mean, as far as departures go, it kind of is what it is, and we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I think the big news has been that America has let go of so much Mexican, brought in a couple Mexicans. Just no player
Mexican.
leaving. Yeah, no international spot has freed up, other than the fact that Sergio Diaz left. But even then, since we lose an international slot to this season, it just means that
it kind of cancels out.
It kind of cancels out, and we're still over, I believe, 2 players, if I'm not mistaken, because Renato Barra's back.
Right. Okay. Right. We over 2. Yeah.
Technically, he's back. He's not with the team. He's not reported. He's not in preseason.
Yeah. But he's back though.
He's back on the books.
On the books, he's back. But he
never left. Let's just face that. He never left. We kept playing his salary. That's so dumb.
Half of it.
No, I'm sure we're paying more than half.
Nah.
We were paying more than half. It was like a 75-25 here.
Damn, we got some terrible business. But anyways, though, that was the departure. And then we just started talking about the arrivals. We talked about Madrigal. So quick thoughts on Madrigal.
I see a lot of people kind of divided on the Madrigal situation, right? Some people saying, what's this 30-year-old plus washed Mexican guy doing in an America jersey? Whilst other people are saying, you know what, he's had himself quite the season with
Querétaro.
So why wouldn't you give him the benefit of the doubt? I have always said that America has lacked a Joe Corona type of player. Someone that isn't necessarily a starter, someone that can come off the bench and do a good job, and when needed can play as a starter and could potentially do a good job. I think when you look back at that last season where we won the title, Joe Corona was kind of an essential player that no one kind of really gave praises for. You go back and you look at the games that he came into, he did a good job. He held the midfield. He did his job in helping out Guido Rodriguez. And then you saw games where he needed to start because of international duty, because of injuries, and he did stuff well. And if Fernando Madrigal can come in and do that job, I think it's exactly what America needs at this point. We all thought also Gonzalez was going to be that player. Clearly was not. Santi Naveda, can he do that job? Of course, but I think his role is more of kind of like a Pedro Aquino-esque, and where he likes to be a little bit more deep line in the midfield. And I think Madrigal can add a little bit of something to it, right? Refresh some of the legs, refresh some of the, Richard Sanchez if he needs to get a little bit of a break during the game, or, rotations and whatnot. But I think he's a welcome addition until we see otherwise.
Right, definitely. No, definitely. I agree with you. Like I was saying before you jumped in, we need people like that on the bench, people that we can rely on, people that when needed in any situation will go in, give 110 and do a good job. Anyone can give 110 when we're in the America shirt, but, unfortunately you're playing for America, so you have to do well as well. You can't just go in and give your effort, right? It doesn't work like that when you're wearing the America jersey. It's definitely an upgrade from the bench options that we had last year. At least some of them. So the next player we're going to talk about was, obviously you said earlier, Miguel Layún. This is definitely caught everyone by surprise. No one saw this coming. Literally happened in the span of 5 minutes that someone reported it and it became official. Literally in that 5 minute span. So AJ, thoughts on Miguel Layún?
Man, I like the guy, but at the same time, do we really have to get him though? But at the same time, understand why, because we ain't got no one to back up Jorge Sanchez. So you're definitely trying to put Brian Colula in there again because you see how he played against Toluca. We don't want that. What I think of this, man, we're broke. We're trying to sell some of those jerseys for Layún so we can get that fichazo bombazo that everyone's waiting for. But, it's nice. Todo el disculpe de Layún. He scored 4 goals against Oswaldo Sanchez, made that man retire for good. So there's that. He scored the penalty that gave us the 2013 title. So, it's nice to see him back. But at the same time, how we perform, only time will tell.
Interesting here. Chris Rivera saying, AJ doesn't like a player? Did I hear that right? What is this world? Welcome to the new age of the Eagle Eye podcast. You know what? It's interesting, AJ. You mentioned something where you said, well, let's bring in Layún, let's sell those jerseys. But how many people are buying Miguel Layún jerseys? Let me just say that off the bat. Also, who's ever buying a new jersey right now with a name and a player's name and a number, I would hold off on that. Because there's maybe only 3 or 4 players that for sure are staying and that are for sure going to keep their number. That's probably Ochoa.
I made it my
Speaking of that, I was looking at the numbers.
You don't know if he's getting the 8 or if he's getting the 10.
No, he got the 8 already.
Oh wait, yeah, that's right. They put out the video.
He got the 8 already.
Which, by the way, I was right.
Yes, I know you were right, but I'm gonna call them right now and tell him to switch it because he needs the 10 on it. But that's a whole different discussion.
Deserve the 10.
Okay, whatever. AJ, you were saying?
Yeah, no, I was just looking at the numbers and there's only a couple of them that are available. I mean, one that I find that's stranger a number. Wait, no, Layún did wear the number 29, right? Did he? When he was at America, it was a different number. It was the
I think that's when he wore 19. I can't remember the first number he wore.
He wore 19 with America.
He's
got 29. It's interesting though. He's got 29, and then on jersey they also have for an option, which interesting enough, Fernando Madrigal, you could put his number on your Club America jersey. Well,
what numbers he got?
He's number 6.
Sergio Diaz.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Look, as far as Miguel Layún, the topic of conversation is always going to be, did he come at the right time or did we get him at the wrong time? Because I think the right time to bring him was when we first got linked to him on his way, when he first joined Rayados, when people said he was going to come to America. I think that was the proper time to bring in Layún. I don't know now. He's on the wrong side of 30. I mean, he didn't get much minutes in Monterrey. He lost his starting position. I mean, lost his Mexican national team spot as well. don't get me wrong. Is he still a good, credible player? I believe so. But does he bring experience and leadership? Yes. But is he better than George Sanchez? I don't think he is.
No, he's not. But that's the only reason why they brought him. You just said it: leadership and experience. Um, you look up front, and you mainly only have Henry Martin there. Other than that, though, in that front three, who really do you have that's experienced? No, Suarez isn't really experienced. I mean, you have Linus, but Linus is Linus, though.
Yeah, Lions is a bit of an oddball, isn't he?
That's what I'm saying. And I think that the kind of thing I think Solari was looking for was more of that experience in the locker room, and Layun definitely brings that. No one can question that. Will he ever be a starter?
Potentially.
No, I don't know. I can't say no right off the bat because he was brought in for a reason, and they made sure to emphasize that Solari gave the green light for it, which means that he has a plan for him.
I think the reason why you bring in Layun, not because of what we just mentioned, but because he's such a Swiss Army knife on the pitch. Play right back, play left back, play center mid, play left mid, he can play right mid. Like the man could be all over the pitch. Like you could put him up top if you want to, and he'll find.
Yeah. Please don't.
Yes, never. But I think you have to realize that that's something I'm guessing Solari really caught eye to and said, you know what, this guy fills gaps where most players wouldn't. And I think that's why you bring in someone like that. And I think Chris Rivera puts it perfectly. He says, don't get your hopes up on Layun. He's going to be kind of more of an Arroyo player, second half player, comes on long distance, free kicks, whatever the case may be. That might be Miguel Layun's role, which I'm a little hesitant to kind of accept because I don't know if Layun would have signed on, 2 years?
2 years.
Just to kind of sit on the bench. But who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows, right? I mean, we don't know the details of this contract, and we can only speculate at this point until the season has unfolded. We don't understand what Miguel Layun's role is. We're going to see maybe glimpses of it here in the next couple of weeks when America plays their friendlies here in the United States. But, I mean, we'll have to see. Actually, Chris Rivera is saying it's a 1-year deal with another option to buy a second year. So it's technically it's 2 years.
It's 2 years. But I don't know. You see that interview with Layun? I don't know. It seems like he's very motivated to be back. He
cries, right?
He makes sure to emphasize he took the largest pay cut in his career just to be with America. Like that pay cut was astronomical. That's what he wants you to think, or that's what he's saying.
I don't believe it.
I mean,
I don't believe it.
I mean, that's I guess everyone's their own opinion. Everyone's their own opinion.
Money, I'm sure he
is.
But
that to me catches my attention, just because he took the pay cut just to wear the America shirt again.
And you're right. That's something that we have to kind of applaud for. Because how many times have we mentioned that we want players that feel for the club, that feel for the jersey, and play for the jersey?
Right, definitely. And also, the thing that Chris said about being a second half player, that's not a bad idea. A lot of people, made Jorge Sanchez not as good as he is because Leo Suarez never tracked back. He never helped out Jorge Sanchez. It was always Linus helping out Fuentes, and maybe that's why Fuentes' blemishes weren't as exaggerated like Jorge Sanchez's were. I think with Layun, if you bring him on second half on that right side, that's another body coming down whenever we have a counterattack going against us, or maybe Jorge Sanchez is too pushed up and Layun can kind of just backtrack. I think Solari has a plan for Layun. I think it's gonna work, but like everyone says, the only time will tell. And like you said, Ivan, we're gonna see glimpses of it during the preseason.
And quite the preseason we're gonna have. We'll talk a little bit more about it later on. We'll get you guys caught up in the first game that's gonna happen in the beautiful city of Salt Lake.
We have one more arrival to go out.
Yeah.
Salvador Reyes.
But I mean, it obviously this Layun thing is not gonna die down right away. I think everyone's gonna be talking about it. And the reality of it is he won't be judged as highly as Giovanni Dos Santos, but I believe he should because of the declarations he made, because of his so-called, pay cut coming to America. He says he feels for the jersey, and I get that. he's not a canterano, but he spent a good chunk of his career here, and he made a name for himself in an America jersey. So I would see why he feels devoted to this institution. I just
Definitely.
want to see him come and kind of demonstrate what he said on that video on the pitch. And when we said time will only tell on that aspect. But Miguel Ayun, obviously out of the blue, but very much welcoming at times when you think about it. It says, okay, someone that understands it, that knows it, and hopefully can provide that little extra oomph when it comes down to it in the season.
Definitely.
All right, so we got one more arrival to talk about, and it's probably the one player that a lot of us were kind of really much kind of eyeing as this is probably the best signing we've had so far in the offseason. And that is none other than Salvador Reyes, ex-Puebla player, left back. What are you guys' thoughts on the youngster coming from Puebla?
Take it away, AJ.
If I'm not mistaken, Kristen mentioned earlier he was named the best left back of the entire season. That's really good. That's a good thing to hear when as soon as he arrived at America. He made to the semifinals with Puebla. He was a key player in that Puebla said that having to take them all the way to the final in that back four. He's a left back. That's one he could actually play as a left midfielder and left winger if needed. So if you don't want Linus for some reason running up there, you could take Chava Reyes. But it's good things. He's got promise. He could be our backup, which I don't think that's going to be the case. If he's definitely going to be starting over Fuentes in this case, but it's good to hear. I think he's ready for it. Fuentes, while good defensively, for me, in my opinion, it's just the age isn't the issue. It's just the pace because you've seen time and time again, if there's a winger that can run faster than Fuentes, which is almost every winger in this league, even some youngster at that point, that's red flags at that point. You just hope that God that he doesn't make Fuentes dance. But Chava Reyes, very good signing for America. A much needed one in this case because we are looking to upgrade our defense, and that's a great upgrade in the defense.
All right, ref, I'm gonna call for a timeout here. Christian, can you pull up that question?
Too. Yeah,
can you pull up the question? Because I think AJ already jumped the gun on this one.
Yeah, for real.
So, as you guys know, we asked for your guys' questions ahead of the podcast, and we were going to do these a little bit later, but unfortunately, AJ jumped the gun a little bit on this one and has stirred up the debate. Over on Twitter, we asked you guys to ask us some questions so we can read them off and answer them here on the podcast. And as always, Chris Rivera, our good friend of the podcast, at Chris96, saying, Chava Reyes, a day one starter, question mark? I believe we've gotten the answer from AJ. That is a yes. Christian and I, a little bit more on the hesitant side. But Christian, I'll let you go first. Talk to me about your thoughts in regards to this signing, and then maybe answering this question along the way.
Sure. I like the signing. I applaud it. I think it was much needed. There wasn't really a backup for Fuentes, so I'm glad this player came in. Seems he has a lot of promise, a very good strike from long distance, and overall just a good player. AJ mentioned that he was a key player in that Puebla run that we probably will never see again. But he was definitely fundamental and essential. But I don't know if he's day one starter. I think that we're gonna have to see him go through the motions in preseason. I mean, he's gonna be there, and Fuentes is gonna be there. So it's basically up to them. Whoever has the best preseason will start. I just don't think right now at this moment Solari will prefer Reyes over Fuentes. But listen, anything can happen in this preseason. Just right now, I think for our first game of the season, I think he'll choose Fuentes over Reyes.
Interesting. I like it. I'm kind of on the same boat as you, but that's kind of the same kind of judgmental kind of mentality we came into with Linus. And look at that, he started right off the bat.
He did.
So we don't know exactly what's going on in training, right? We're not there. We can't physically see that. So we can't see if Chava Reyes is kind of, filling the eye of Solari or if he's not. Right? That's their job. They got to go out there and fight for their spot. But I think this is the important thing. Like we mentioned with Miguel Ayun, it's that internal competition. And I wish we would have had this internal competition with, I don't know, maybe the center back partnership. But, I mean, at least we're having it on the fullback side of things, which is interesting, right? I think we all knew that we needed a replacement for Fuentes, whilst as good as he was for us last season, you still felt that he was a key, like a very much weak point in our starting 11, because you knew all you had to do was press that trigger button, and you just had to run past the guy, and that was it.
Especially in the
Chava
latter part of the
Reyes,
season.
yeah. So Chava Reyes was a little bit more of a, okay, you bring him in, he's got pace, and you know that he's gonna be able to go one-on-one with these wingers. Something maybe Fuentes can't necessarily do. Not to say that Fuentes is a bad fullback, because at that age you start playing more positioning rather than relying on just sheer speed. So we have to wait and see. I think Chava Reyes can learn a lot from Fuentes. I think if he can absorb some of that, come into this and kind of battle it out, I think we could see something interesting happen. But I don't think he's a day one starter just yet. I think that he's got to earn it a little bit, and I think this preseason is going to be important for him to kind of try to cement a spot in the starting 11, and after that we'll see. But it's not to say that I do believe he's going to be our starting fullback eventually. Will it be later down the road in the season? Maybe next season? We'll have to wait and find out. But Fuentes will surely track back to the bench, and then of course Reyes will take that starting 11 spot. When will that be? Only time will tell.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But not a day one starter. I don't know where you're getting this from, AJ.
Man,
I mean, we'll see.
I see it, but who knows? Time will only tell.
For real. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the departures and arrivals.
Those are the arrivals, departures, and now a lot of people furious. We just see hashtag Fuera Baños everywhere. Where I just log in on Twitter, and that's all I see. That is all I see.
I was about to say that.
That is all I see.
That a day goes by where I don't see hashtag Fuera Baños.
Like the Euros were on today, and like you see the worldie that Pogba scored, and right under that is a tweet saying Fuera Baños. I'm like, this has nothing to do with either or. But okay. And let's talk a little bit about that hashtag, gentlemen. How much fault in the transfer window do we give to Baños? I mean, technically, directly, that's his job, right? But what I'm trying to allude to is he getting all the funds that he needs, which he's not. Is he getting as much liberty as we think he has? I don't think he is. And does he have to kind of stick to some rules and guidelines in order to go find a player, which I think he is. I don't feel I don't think it's as dry cut as everyone on Twitter is making it out to be. Like, oh, Baños can't sign this player, Baños can't do that. Like, I get it. Maybe he's not as comprehensive as we want him to be, but I don't think he's going out there and saying, you know what, I'm just not going to try to get Vidal because, I don't want to. I think it's more of like, I don't think I can go get Vidal because, one, I don't think I have the money to pay Vidal to come over. I don't have the funds to keep him here for more than 6 months. I just think that Baños is a scapegoat of more things playing factors in the background for America. And I think I've talked to it when we've had our Twitter spaces. I've talked about it on the podcast before. This issue that America is having with transfers extends deeper than just Santiago Baños. You can bring in, I know everyone wants to get rid of Baños and put in Pablo Pardo. I promise you nothing's going to change. Nothing will change in the transfer market if you just swap out presidents. And I'll tell you why. Because Pablo Pardo is going to have to come in, and the guidelines are still going to be the same. The transfer budget is still going to be the same, might be even lower. And it's just going to be the same circle, round and round and round and round. What America needs, it's unfortunate, but what America needs is funds, is money. And we don't have that. And there was a graphic that was brought out, and I got it right here because I thought it was just really interesting. In the sense of how much money we're bringing in, or at least our biggest, the biggest people that bring in money for us, which is Televisa, right? Even though, quote unquote, we're not part of Televisa anymore. America was making about 100, like about 101, like 101 million, right? Compare that to Tigres, who's making double that, a little bit more than double, with 252,
And the Rayados as well.
and
It's like
Rayados making 506. And we want to punch way over our belt in this one.
We didn't pay 18 million for Nico Castillo.
we paid about 8 or so, wasn't it? I'm pretty
There's
sure.
no. First
Yeah,
of all,
that
First
was
of all,
scary.
hold up. No one in Liga MX can afford to pay an $18 million price tag.
Monterrey
That's number
can.
one. No, they
Monterrey
cannot.
can afford it. They can afford
No,
it.
they cannot. No, they cannot. I promise you, I will lay down every single dollar I own to anyone. No one in Liga MX can pay an $18 million price tag. No one. No, Chivas did not pay 17 million for
Yo,
Alan
they
Pulido.
got that dough.
Alan Pulido is not even worth 17 million. Maybe you want 1.7. Okay, yes, I agree with you there. Not 17 million. And we did not pay 18 for Nico Castillo. I will 100% put that down to the grave. But yes, Ivan, I agree with you. Most of it. Not all of it, but most of it, I agree with you.
And look, I think Chris brings up a pretty important point, right? He's saying the money is there, in my opinion, which I that's the one part I disagree with. But just horrible contracts negotiation. That's hand flat out. Yes, that has been America's Achilles' heels for the past couple of seasons. But it's not to say that we haven't put ourselves in this situation, because I'll tell you where things went wrong. That era where America was spending money like if we just were never gonna lose it, like if we were just always gonna have money. I'm talking about 08, 09, 10, 11, where you brought in players like a Vizcarrundo. You brought in a player of Vizcarrundo with a pretty good contract, right? You brought in players like El Pocho Insua. You brought in players like Rofin Montenegro. You brought in players like Enrique Vera. Like players, Pepino Cuevas, all the players that now you think about it and you're just like, this is a waste of money. They were terrible. But back then had value to them. And you came in and you spent God knows how much money, terrible contracts, which at one point sometimes you even had to go and buy out the contract to get even rid of them. And now we're left in a situation. We're thinking like, well, why don't we have as much money? Because mistakes of the past have finally caught up to us. And this transfer window, I know it's still early, but Christian, you know this better than anyone. The rumors of any foreign player leaving have completely died out.
Yes.
Like, not even a whisper.
Not even a whisper.
And I'll tell you why. It's because they're on way too high of a salary and no one wants to pay it. And they don't want to take a pay cut. And they rather write out the contract.
The reported thing for saying 18 million, I'm assuming that's what they mean from the 4 years that we're going to have Castillo, because I think there was the thing that we were paying 5 million per year. His contract is up until 4, so it equates to 20 million. I'm assuming that's what the reporters meant when they're saying 18 million total. That's how much like he's been getting. I could be wrong, but
that's a good guess.
But yeah, no, just the entire money thing. Ooh, it's scary. Go on.
Eventually, where I'm leading up to this is that yes, fuera Baños, right, and we're using that kind of as a unity. But I think we're too quick to just point the fingers at him and not point the fingers at the previous people that were in charge and say, well, now they put us in that situation and no one's been smart enough to get us out of that situation. Not even Baños. I'm not here defending Baños. Don't get that wrong. Don't get it twisted. Don't think I'm just here and be like, no, keep Baños in charge. No, by all means necessary. That man needs to go because he hasn't done anything that the previous people have to put us in a better situation. And until someone comes in and does that, could it be Pablo Pardo? Who knows? Maybe. I don't know if he's a number guy. Could he be? Who knows? But we need someone that's smart, that not only knows the sport, but also knows the financing of it. I'm looking at you, Christian. And
I can do it.
that
I can
can
definitely
dig
do
us
it.
out of this hole.
I can
Because
definitely do it.
we're 9 feet deep in. And we just keep digging further and further. And it's going to get to the point where it's going to be bad. And you're just seeing it right now. We can't get rid of any of our foreigners. And we have more than what? I think we have like 12 foreigners still on the payroll.
I think so.
And that is unacceptable. That America is unable to do anything about it. We proclaim to be the biggest club, and yet our pockets are not looking like the biggest club. I'll tell you that much.
It's also the thing. Well, our pockets are hurting. That means everyone else's pockets are hurting. When you're trying to sell a player like Renato Ibarra with a high salary, there's only a few teams in Liga MX who can even afford to pay his salary. That's number one. Number two, you try to ship him out to the MLS, but there's not many teams interested in Renato Ibarra like that. You would think there would be, but there really isn't, though. Which is surprising, though, because I think Renato Ibarra would absolutely kill it in the MLS. So the fact that there's more MLS teams jumping on this just makes it even harder, because now you can't sell them to the 3 teams in Liga MX. You can't sell them to the 15 teams in the MLS. What are your options after that? There really isn't much.
There isn't.
Keep doing what you're doing, paying 60% of the salary, letting the loan team pay 40%. You still have them on your payroll. That's something that you need to make that number from 60 to 0. And what is he have? 2 years left?
2 years left.
Yes,
2 years left. 2 years of paying 60%. No, that's ridiculous. And it's such a big contract that you just can't buy it out. We can't afford it. We can't afford to buy him out.
2 years. The thing about this, the owners lost money. The owner lost a ton of money. He's trying to get it back. He got some of it back, not to the point where he was before. Like before, he was up here, then he was down here. Now he's going to be up here. See that difference? It's still a big gap. And until he gets back up here, we won't see America with money for a while. I give it about 3 years, maybe, till we're back to that point. But in that 3 years, though, we're going to have to try to be smart with the transfers that come in. Fidalgo, Viñas, hopefully, and pray. And be smart with the exits. Giovanni, Sergio Diaz, and not make stupid contract signings. Alan Medina, Sergio Diaz,
Arturo Vidal, for everyone watching there, Brian, I'm talking to you. Look, I get it. We all want Arturo Vidal, right? But here's my thing. It makes no sense to bring him in.
We have Aquino.
We don't need someone
Sanchez,
in that position.
Richard Sanchez, but no.
Like I get it. He's flirting with us, right? And it's like, oh, Arturo Vidal. Like, yeah, who doesn't want him, right? But Christian just mentioned it. We need to be smart about these things, because there has to be a projected plan in this institution to be like, look, the goal is to get from here to here financially. So we need to, exert our steps, slowly but surely. It's kind of like a staircase, right? And then Arturo Vidal just plunges you. It makes no sense, right? We need wingers. I haven't heard about a winger in, a month and a half. We need a center back. It's been a good solid month that we haven't heard of a center back either.
No, we don't need center backs. What are you talking about? Let's get our forwards, get the midfields. That's all we ever need. Defenders, we don't need that. Stick with Bruno and Emma so we can hear the same complaint every single season. Why can't we get defenders? You want to know why? Because we loaned them all out. Why? What do you want to do at that point?
I don't know. But
also, here's another thing. You know why Tigres and Monterrey can afford players like this? It's one thing they both have in common, and it helps a lot. Whether people think or not. And it started happening when Tigres started getting a little bit more popular, like 2013, 14. You would say around they would start getting a little bit more popular. Okay, but from that moment on, even before then, because people don't really know it, even before then, they've always done this. And in Monterrey now, obviously with the new stadium, it's helped a lot. And that's the fans. The fans are literally there for Tigres 85% full capacity every single freaking home game.
Mm-hmm.
Monterrey has about 75% every single home game. That helps a lot. America has a capacity of about 87,000. We barely can get 19. We barely can get 19. What makes you think that we can afford players when we can't even fill up half of our stadium?
And you know what? I think the argument at first was America wasn't just doing good, right? So why are you gonna go watch your team if they're not doing good? And that was the original argument, right?
And okay, I understand that. But we started winning. We started getting titles. We started getting players that people want to see. And people still don't go.
Now, this is an interesting kind of maybe a little project we can do. But look at the difference between how much a ticket to watch an America game at the Azteca is at comparison to how much a ticket at the Volcan is. And I think you'll see quite the price difference.
Definitely.
Right?
But
why?
I think that's just bad
because once America, once
America, though. No, I understand that. But I think that's just bad planning overall.
But this is what I'm trying to get at. Look, that's one thing, right? And if anyone out there knows more than me in what I'm about to say, please correct me. I don't want to come out here and think that I know what I'm about to say 100%. But you look at the economics in Mexico City in comparison to the economics in Monterrey as to what kind of living life is on kind of the, let's put it in the minimum wage essence, right? I think there are people in Monterrey that can make more money, that can go to games rather than Mexico City, that, you know, maybe don't make the same amount, that can go spend it on a ticket at America. And that's maybe something that we have to take in consideration. And I think if you look at the prices over the years, have they increased? Yes. Has, you know, money increased in Mexico City like that? I don't think so. So I think it falls back into like I think it falls back into the club and saying, how can we entice our fans to come back to the stadium and have them pay the prices that we want to pay?
And that's a Emilio's fault and the buyer's fault.
Yes. Don't get me wrong, you know, but I think they're like, well, we got to keep it at this price because if we don't, then, you know, we'll just completely tank and stuff like that. Look, the economics of this is a lot of hit and miss for us because unfortunately, like I've said before, these numbers aren't generally given out to the public. And if they are, they're a little bit dated.
But the thing is that I don't understand. Throughout the seasons, we've seen on Twitter that the packages that America gives out for the Azteca, you know, 2-for-1 games, 3-for-1 games at a certain price. And to someone,
which, by the way, those are good.
Those are amazing. Those are amazing. But even with those packages, you still don't see a big increase in fans. Which leads me to my next question: is America banking more on TV revenue than on in-person attendance? Because to them, they probably think, okay, I can get more eyes on me at 9 o'clock Mexico, 10 o'clock in the US, in the East Coast or whatever, rather than, you know, 5 o'clock in Mexico, 6 o'clock in the US.
I think so. Go ahead, AJ.
I had something in mind as well to why I think there could potentially be not as many fans at the Azteca as it used to be. Maybe it's not the case. The amount of bars you can see in Mexico City, why go to the Azteca when you could just go to your local bar, have a beer, get some food, watch with a couple of friends, and just watch the game right on there? Don't have to make the trip all the way to the Azteca and just stay your way at that bar right there. That's me, I don't know, a couple blocks or a couple minutes away from your place. I don't know. That's something that I discussed with my dad a bit, and I thought to myself, maybe that kind of makes sense. You don't have to make that drive all the way to the stadium.
I think that's a valid argument, AJ. I'm not gonna say it isn't, but you can attest to this, AJ. There is no greater feeling than being at the Azteca and watching a game live.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's amazing. It's wonderful.
So to that, I'll say this: if you have that opportunity to experience it, why wouldn't you? right? But I think this is a very complex equation that we may not have all the pieces to,
We
because
probably don't, right?
as much as we want to put some fault on Emilio and Baños and kind of the Azteca ticketing and all that stuff, the fans have a responsibility in this as well, right? I'm not saying go out there and spend your hard-earned cash that you
Right.
earned the whole week on one
Definitely.
ticket to go
Definitely.
watch America potentially lose to Puebla. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying, right, there's got to be a middle ground here, right?
It has to be.
Like, I know America works with the porras, right? They work with them to get tickets to kind of, get a good general amount of people in there. I know they do that, and they work with them. But then, you get your average Joe fan, like, who can go this, who can go there. And that's why I say it's a tricky, complicated equation, because it's like the club owns responsibility, the Azteca owns some responsibility in this, and the fans own responsibility in this as well. It's difficult to point one finger at. I feel like that kind of thing in the office where they're all kind of like pointing fingers at each other and seeing who's going to shoot for. It kind of is a situation like that where it's just kind of like everyone has to play a role in this one. But you're right in saying this and that, Christian, that tickets are a huge, huge part of a team's income. And so that America can't get more than 20,000 fans a week, that is very concerning.
As one of the sayings goes, the club is nothing without its fans. In this case,
exactly,
nothing without it.
And don't think these games in the US aren't helping America right now, because they're going to sell out.
States,
they're going to sell out. So the fans in the US are doing their part. I understand it's only once a year, and that's why they're going, but at least they're selling out, though.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you have to sell out every single game, because that's almost near impossible to sell out an $87,000 seater in the Azteca, right? That's kind of almost near impossible to do every 15 days. At least half, my friend. At least half.
You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking at this point, honestly? You know how NFL does its games in Mexico City at times? It's trying to get some revenue. Oh, hello?
Are we having some technical difficulties there, AJ?
That's on my end?
No, I know it wasn't on your end. I think it was on Christian's end, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm back. It's one of my AirPod died, so I had to switch this one. This one might die too, so I don't know where that's going to go.
But I always think, you know how America could just get all that money, considering the amount of fans that are here in the United States? Have a Liga MX game in the States at this point. Go to one of those things, fill that thing out, profit. I don't know. It's going to be too much of a travel, but hey, you get money that way.
Like, we could sit here and talk all day about how we can make this club money, right? And I think we've all said it. Just everyone that follows America on Twitter, send them like $5 and we'll be fine. But look, this is gonna be an ongoing discussion, right? Alex saying, America gets a great amount of money from the abonados every year this season, right? That's season ticket holders, for those of you wondering what that
But I
word
think
means.
if you look at that one, I think they're going down every single year. They're decreasing, and people that are renewing, they're just decreasing every single year.
Which, by the way, I'm always tempted to just get it, because I'm like, I wonder if they'll send me all the little cool things.
They will.
I'll never be able to go to a game, but
honestly, it's not that much. And
it's really not.
Okay, look.
Wait a minute.
We're talking for us here at the States rather than people over there, right? That's
right.
Let's not get into that discussion. But I mean,
if we ever want to go to a game, we can just we have a ticket.
Yeah,
we have a ticket already. We have a ticket already.
Well, we might look into that next season. Maybe we can do like some ticket giveaways because of that. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But look. All of this discussion was just for me to say that I think the Fuera Baños thing is a bit too harsh. But then again, the Americanismo is always going to be that, right? It's always going to be that. I just think that we're not seeing the full picture, and we're so quick to kind of find a scapegoat. And unfortunately, Baños has been that person. Not to say that he doesn't deserve to be that person. I'm just saying at times it feels a little bit unfair that we're just pointing fingers just willy-nilly at times. But alas, it turned into this whole debacle, and I apologize for those who didn't want to know so much about how bad our team was doing financially. Let's talk a little bit about, well, Christian, I'd say rumors, but is there even anything?
Not really. Right now, it's been a little quiet. It's just the same stuff repeating every single day. It's not really worth talking about, just because it's the same thing, and most of it's probably BS anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hold off on it. Hopefully next week we have a little bit more news on certain players departing and or arriving. But right now everything's quiet right now. I think people are just trying to, go through the motions of preseason, get through the start of the start of the preseason before we start talking about new players. That's pretty much it though.
Yeah, and look, I want to remind everyone, the league should be dropping the season schedule within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out on that. We'll let you guys know exactly what's going on with that. As soon as we get word of it, we'll let you guys know. But the season's right around the corner. I give it about 4 weeks until we start this thing. So
I'm excited. I was telling AJ,
Yeah.
it is a feeling that I haven't felt in a while. That I'm just counting down the days for America to just come back, because it's just I just can't wait, man. I want to see my team play again.
Yes,
Please,
of course. I've always
dude.
said it. America over anything, always. So that's the case. So season's right around the corner, which means, look, America's got to get something done here soon. That's a whole different situation.
Season right around the corner, which means that we have the league, but we also have another tournament to play in August.
Right, which is the CONCACAF Champions League. Which, here's a question for you guys. K Prince says, who from the pod is going to the CONCACAF Champions League game in Philly? Because I am. Also, who is the player to watch for next season in this team? All right. Well, gentlemen, I leave that question open to the both of you, since you guys are the closest to Philly. Which one of you guys are going to Philadelphia?
We were gonna announce this a little bit later, but yes, I will be going to Philly. AJ still to be determined. Unless he made up his mind, he's going.
He's just made up his mind right now. You guys
made up his mind now. You fucking love it, baby. You absolutely love it. So yes, me and AJ will both be there in Philly. We have a lot more details to discuss about that. It'll be our first ever Champions League coverage. So hopefully it's a fun experience. Hopefully we come out with the W, because it is going to be the second leg. So that's something to look forward to. But like I said, though, we still have a whole 2 months before that happens. So hopefully we have more details in the coming weeks. But yes, me and AJ will both be there in Philly.
So if you guys want to get your AJ Henry Martin autograph, make sure you guys go check it out at Philly whenever that game does go through. So excited that these gentlemen are going to be able to go cover a game, and we'll see what happens. Quickly, I feel like we're extending our time here, and this first episode was always going to be just kind of testing the waters as to how we're doing here, because of course the real action starts on July 4th, as America is going to be taking on remind me, who is it again, AJ? Is it Atlas or Santos? Okay,
It's Santos Laguna.
Santos.
Atlas is the one in San Jose. Santos Laguna, of course, that game's coming up on Sunday, July 4th. So happy Independence Day for all of us. And America's going to be taking on Santos Laguna in what hopefully should be a pretty entertaining game. I think Solari's going to try a couple of things here, which might be a little bit interesting. I know, I'm excited too. I want to see what these players are capable of doing.
We gotta think that these are the players that are going to start the season off for the first 3 or 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Yes, correct. And cause I was also going to say that we're going to be missing a couple of players because of international duty, right? Guillermo Ochoa, Henry Martin, George Sanchez, Sebastian Cordova, all out with the Olympic squad, as they'll be on their way to Tokyo sometime within the next couple of weeks to go fly out there and start the Olympic gold medal
run.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. So of course that's a lot of players. We just mentioned four starters.
That's 4 starters.
It's 4 starters are out. So yeah, I mean, some of these players have a possibility of knocking these guys out of the starting 11 if they do good, right? So I'm looking at Viñas.
Looking at Viñas.
I'm looking at Layun. He's gonna have to be a starter in that right back
Yeah, there you
position.
go. Like he was gonna have to be a starter.
So and I think we won't miss Cordoba as much because Fidalgo's been playing in that position. Jimenez is gonna hopefully try to play for a contract for another team for these next couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
And then who else did I mention? No, I think that's it, right? Yeah, those are the four
Yep.
players.
And Ochoa, but I don't think Jimenez or Tapia can bring down
No.
Ochoa. Definitely.
Nah,
not.
I mean,
We all know how Ivan feels about Tapia here.
Tapia will beat out Jimenez. Don't worry, he'll beat out Ochoita Jr. He'll do it. He'll beat him out.
Look, man, that kid does not fill me with any confidence whatsoever at all. Jesus.
Anyone that's not Ochoa in goal will never make you feel happy.
No.
No one.
I'm okay with Jimenez playing.
I'm okay with Navarrete.
I'm okay with Jimenez. Yeah. At one point, I really thought Navarrete was gonna be like our goalkeeper.
Oh,
like
hell no,
for a while.
Oh,
there was some times where he made some pretty good saves. But I was like, man, this guy might be the real deal.
Oh no!
And then like 30 minutes later, he conceded a goal, and I was like, what happened?
Throwing back to the season we didn't have Ochoa. That was like the worst season. He was our starting goalkeeper, wasn't he? He was our goalkeeper, right? During those matches, or
well, yeah, when Ochoa left to Lazio, Navarrete got the go, and well, you guys know how that ended.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like we mentioned, interesting stuff going on here in the preseason. We'll keep an eye out. We'll be live tweeting this game, of course, for you guys. Should be broadcasted on through the NA. For those of you that are lucky enough to go out there in Salt Lake City, let us know. Share with us your photos. Share with us some videos. We'd love to be able to post that on our social media. And, of course, we give you guys full credit. And by the way, just kind of wanted to give an update that potentially there might be 2 Eagle Eye Podcast boys in San Antonio for the upcoming friendly match against Tigres, which is going to be an interesting one. We're going to be previewing it here on the podcast. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. The return of Miguel Herrera against his former club.
Oh, boy.
And should be interesting. Also, by the way, if you guys haven't already gotten tired of this blue jersey that is constantly being thrown at you by America to go buy, well, get ready because that is all they're going to be wearing for this preseason. It is nothing but that blue jersey. And we won't get the home kit probably like 3 days before the start of the season, which is usually how it goes. Why do they do that? I have no idea. But we'll see what happens. But all right, gentlemen. Anything else that we've missed?
I think we might have covered everything, to my knowledge.
Yep. Obviously, a lot more is going to be unfolding throughout this couple of weeks. Obviously, right now, all the buzz is international football, right? What happened with Mexico and the upcoming Gold Cup, everything going on in the Euros. Stuff tends to die down for Liga MX, but don't worry, like I mentioned, the start of the season is like right around the corner, so it's going to start boiling up anytime soon. Christian's going to keep you guys up to date, and so will we. So make sure you guys follow us over on Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast. And as well as Instagram and Facebook as well. We'll keep you guys up to date with everything going on in and around there. All right. Well, before we kind of wrap things up, gentlemen, let's just kind of go through the other questions that we got over on Twitter, read them, answer them, and then we'll kind of sign off. So, Christian, if you would be so kind as to pull up the next question.
I mean, we'll just put this one because we kind of talked about it already.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. And I was actually thinking about that when we were having our little debate.
Mm-hmm.
Is America struggling to sell foreigners because of bad contracts or because they overvalue players who haven't done anything to have a high price tag? Which, by the way, great question by Chris Rivera. I think it's a mixture of both, right? I think it's America desperately having to buy players at such a high value because we are America, right? I think I've talked about this before. It's a little bit unfair. Yeah. Right, yeah. The price tag that the taxation that we get because we are who we are, as comparison to other clubs. But at the same time, you gotta be smart. And America paying the amount of money that we've paid with kind of the years and all that stuff. It's just bad contracting. Also, I think we can also add a little bit of bad luck in there, because who thought the Renato Ibarra situation was going to happen whenever we signed him on,
Yeah.
And it's like, Okay, that was on us.
And who
But
thought Nico
also,
Castillo was gonna get a life-threatening injury?
Thrombosis, yeah,
exactly,
blood clot.
exactly, right? The Gio one, yeah, you can make an argument. Like, why would you pay so much money for someone who wasn't even playing in the Galaxy?
Right.
But right, so, some of these other contracts have been just due to bad luck.
Bad
I
luck.
mean, I still think that Jeremy Menace was a terrible contract, by the way. I don't know why we brought him in, but it is what it is. The Roger one too. We paid such a high price for him. I don't know why. No, like what he's making. Like,
what he's making? Yeah, probably.
I don't think he had that track record to be like, yeah, let's pay him this much money. That is a great one. Chris Bear saying buying out the Ibarwin contract. That's also a good one. Well, I don't know why we make the decisions that we make, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But thank you, Chris, for the question again.
You know what? We'll just keep it on Chris. Last question.
Last question, saying, which player do you see us sending to the All-Star game? ? Players with national teams aren't eligible. Well, that is an interesting one.
Right.
Because
I say we send none. Let's send none.
Well, will we even be eligible to send anyone? Because let's think about it. Our best players would be, quote unquote, with their national team.
And then
right? Let's say everyone picks up form, right? Let's say everyone picks up form and they're doing good. Ochoa gets called up to the national team. George gets called up to the national team. Bruno gets called up to the national team. Aquino gets called up to his national team. Richard gets called up to his national team. Roger gets called up to his national team. And
Henry
gets called up to the national team. So now you're thinking, well, do we send Fidalgo? Do we send Leo Suarez? Do we send... God, I don't even know why I put Leo Suarez on there. Chava Reyes, Luis Fuentes, Miguel Ayun.
Like, right now is Fidalgo or Aquino.
But I think Aquino gets called up by Peru. The only reason why Aquino isn't in the Copa America is because he had an injury.
It was an injury. That's what I'm saying.
That is the only reason.
Right, but he's not with them right now, so he's eligible to get called up for the All-Star game.
Well, remember the All-Star game is in August. There's an international break in there, no? That's why. That's why they wouldn't be eligible. Because it's in August. It's
just be Fidalgo then.
Right?
Just Fidalgo.
Or Viñas if he's picked up form. Like Septel.
I say we send none. Keep them all in America, no injuries. I'm fine with it. Let fucking Gignac and MLS battle out. I'm okay with that. I'm fine.
I feel like it'd be nice just to see at least one player from each team represent in that Liga MX.
All right, so send Fernando Tapia then if you insist.
Oh hell yeah, let's go. Yo, put my boy Chocho Lopez and represent Guatemala right there. Represent.
There you go. We'll send him. But you know what? We could just save the trouble. We'll just send Dylan. Dylan can represent.
Let's go.
No, Dylan can go, exactly.
But yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing when the All-Star comes around. Just keep your eyes out on that, and we'll let you guys know what happens. I think Fidalgo might be the only player that we send. I don't want to. But,
August 14th.
Yep.
August 14th.
Okay, good old CONCACAF.
Which 2 weeks later is the
All-Star game?
Is the All-Star game.
Yeah.
So, interesting stuff going on there. Do we have... Yes. This is the question I've been looking for. At Jerry SVN saying, what is the biggest lie you've told yourself over the last 2 years? And why is it thinking Giovanni Dos Santos was going to regain his form with America? Great question. Amazing one. When I read it, I started laughing and I was like, this guy is onto something.
This guy gets it.
Yeah, this guy gets it. AJ, why is that the biggest lie you've told yourself in the past 2 years?
I have no clue. You think of that Firmela Gio, that goal where he just absolutely ended those defenders of the United States national team and chipped over to how you're thinking, yeah, he's going to replicate that. Stop. We put the entire clown makeup on at that point, thinking, yeah, he's gonna be it. That was a complete lie. We had too much confidence. Like me, when I kept saying 3 O's left and right, I'm just like, it's probably never gonna happen on this Sonati. It's never gonna happen. We did get a couple
never
times,
will.
but
Christian?
I never really bought into the hype like that.
Come on.
I did think that he was gonna do better than what he did. Unfortunately, it just didn't seem like he was all that invested in it. You hear reporters and people say, "Yeah, he's training hard. He's gonna be back into form. Just give him a little bit more time." He never did. He never did, and it's a little bit of a shame because like you said, Ivan, you think about his father and what he did things with America. You would think that okay, Gio does a good form, convinces his brother to come, and then we get both of them in good form. We never really got to like that point where that was going to be possible. I just really wish we saw a little bit more from him than what we got.
Well, look, to answer Jerry's question here, it's kind of like what you mentioned, right? It was, for me, the reason why I believed this lie so much was because that I thought there was history in that bloodline. You come into this, you understand that you grew up with that culture, you know kind of what's expected from you. And he came in saying the right things, and you thought, yeah, this might just be like AJ said. You think about the goals he scored in the Mexican national team. You remember what Cuauhtemoc Blanco said about him, and all of that kind of gets played and thrown in your head, and you start thinking like, yeah, this might be it. He might just be the one. And then 2 years later, you're looking at yourself with like that Joker makeup on you, and you're just like, this wasn't the one. So yeah, no, it's the biggest lie we've told ourselves in the past 2 years, and fortunately, it was a very expensive lie, by the way. But fortunately now the bill's been paid, and we can start telling ourselves new lies from here on out.
Oh, Chris got one here in the comment. If you could pull that one up, the most recent one. Yeah, he blew my cover right there. That was
AJ's biggest lie was thinking Chucho Lopez would score in several games. To be honest,
man, the best thing he ever had happen in last season was that sexy assist that he gave to Richard Sanchez. Don't call me saying it was a shot. That was not a shot. He set himself. I'm gonna make this sexy pass. No, it was not. Stop. Don't play yourselves.
All right. Well, last question here. It's coming from our good friend Miggy here. Seeing we won't be getting any help on the wings, which I think might be true. Do you think Solari possibly switches to a 4-2-3-1 with Cordova and Fidalgo playing kind of the free roam behind the strikers, Aquino, Richard, and Naveda in the midfield? What do you gentlemen think about that? I'm just going to answer this shortly. I don't like it. I don't think it works.
I don't think it works either. I don't think Cordova and Fidalgo can play in that role together. I think they bump heads a lot. I think that it just causes a lot of confusion. Also, I think Solari is very fond of having wingers like Linus. I think he's trying to find another person like Linus. I think that for some odd reason he seems to have a good connection with Leo Suarez. Could be just because of the same nationality. I'm not too sure, but it seems like he just likes him. He likes to play. He likes what he brings. I don't know what he brings. Besides bangers, from 40 yards out. But besides that, then doesn't really bring much. But I don't think he shies away from the wingers. And this formation we probably won't see. Maybe that's a kind of like a preseason formation. But other than that, though, actually going into a actual league game, I don't think we'll see it anytime soon.
And it's unfortunate that Cordova isn't here for preseason, because then we could have tested this theory out. But since he's not, no need to play that formation. Right. I like what AP Jr. is saying here. He's like, I feel like a 4-4-2 is America's best formation, in my opinion, which I think it is. But then you cancel out Fidalgo. And arguably Fidalgo might be the best player we have on the pitch. So you can't really play that formation because it wouldn't suit Fidalgo whatsoever. I mean, unless you want to put him as a false 9, But even then, that's just that just doesn't seem like it would work, you know. We'll see though. We'll see.
We'll see. That's pretty much it.
That's it. That's all the questions. Thank you again to everyone that submitted your questions. We might do this throughout the preseason, so you guys can get your questions in, and we'll answer them on here gratefully. We love to interact with you guys, whether it's people right here on the live chat, or whether it's people that unfortunately can't listen to the live chat, and we'll have to wait and see. Got a thumbs up by none other than Club America.
I mean, I wish that was the real one.
Imagine.
It was a bait. It's all a lie. But
Well,
hey,
thank you.
We're gonna count that as a W in our book. Okay, so
That's a W.
that's a W in our book.
But again, thank you to everyone that's interacted with us today. Whether it be on Twitter, whether it be here, we're looking for more of that for this season. I think that's something that me and the boys talked about in our meeting before the start of the season, was that we kind of want to incorporate you guys more onto the podcast, more stuff on Twitter, more stuff, whether it be Instagram, Facebook. We want to find a way to kind of, be able to be part of the community and give back to the community. It's something that I didn't mention to them, but
Breaking news!
Breaking news! No, that's coming.
Breaking news! You heard it here first from the official account itself.
That is not coming. But yeah, we want to find a way to get back to you guys, incorporate back to you guys. And so we'll plan on doing some events more. I know one time we did a viewing party that went pretty well, and maybe we could do something like that more, whether it be here in LA, whether it be down in Texas, or whether it may be over there in New York. We'll find a way. But we do want to be able to give more back to you guys. We want to interact more with you guys, and we want to make you guys more involved in this. Whether you're listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or whether you're tuning in week and week out, we want to find a way to accommodate all of you, and we hope that with what we have planned for this upcoming season, we're able to do that. So again, thank you to everyone for your time for this hour and 21 plus show. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out. It's been great. Monday nights, we tested the waters, and I think it went well, and I think it's our new time.
Definitely. I think I enjoy it. I think, we have a lot of more interaction here, so, it's definitely going to be a fun experience.
Hey, if the Club Club America can come out on a Monday night, then you're doing things right.
Definitely.
All right, then. Well, you guys have a wonderful night. You guys, we'll be back next week to talk all things Club America. And don't forget to use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. Again, as today episode is brought to you guys by Foot Cult, which, by the way, AJ, show the beautiful people what they missed out on. Look at this. Look at this jersey. If you guys didn't get it, I am ashamed at all of you guys, okay? Just ashamed. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Looks like we're competing with WWE Monday Night Raw, so we'll see what happens there. But I think we'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
People want to tune in and see AJ's beautiful face.
Exactly.
Alrighty then. All right, you guys have a wonderful night. We'll be back next week on Monday to talk all things America. We'll be recapping what happened against Santos in Salt Lake City. We'll be previewing the game up ahead against Tigres in San Antonio, and we might talk a little bit about the game in San Jose against Atlas on Wednesday. So again, with that said, we'll be back next week. Hope you guys have a wonderful time. You guys take care. Continue to wear your masks as we're still not through this whole pandemic, but the light is at the end of the tunnel. All right, then. You guys have a wonderful time. See you guys soon. Until next time, take care. And as always, Arriba America.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.